Aging in place. What does that mean? Everybody thinks about it, and yet nobody wants to talk about it. For me, it is something that is so very near and dear to my heart, both personally and professionally. Now, I work with so many seniors and their families, and they say, I just want to stay in my home. And of course you do. I get it. Home is where you're comfortable. Home is where the holidays happened. Home is where the dog knows which window to look at and who to bark at, and where the coffee and the patio and the sunrise all are just perfect. Aging in place is about staying safe, comfortable, and connected as we age and our needs change. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what it really takes to age in place successfully, from mindset to money and everything in between, on this episode of Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Relax, I Got This. I'm your host, Robin McCoy, and we are talking about aging in place today, and there are many parts to this. And the first is the mindset of aging in place. And so it starts in your head, not in your spot. Okay, it's not your house, it's in your head. Too often people wait until something happens in urgency, a fall, a medical incident, a hospital stay, and then they are forced to make fast decisions. And when we make fast decisions in urgency, it costs us precious time and precious money, to be honest. And our decision-making process is often taken away from us. So aging in place really means thinking ahead. It means asking yourself, what do I need my home and my life to look like for me in 5 years or in 10 years or in 20 years? Okay, so I always tell my clients, your home should support you, not challenge you. Okay, now maybe that means rearranging furniture. Maybe that means moving things from high shelves to low shelves. Maybe that means getting rid of a lot of things and clutter and stuff to make walking easier. Or when it comes 10 years from now, making those decisions is easier now than it is in 10 years. So maybe it means moving to a one-story home or a smaller home that is easier to manage and easier to live in and still keeps you in your independence. My own mom's journey really opened my eyes to this. You know, in the fall of 2023, if you've listened to this show, I've referenced this quite a bit. Mom wanted to stay where she was, and she was absolutely fine for a long time, living independently in her apartment. And it was fine until it wasn't. And then things started happening. She started falling, unable to walk. We had some medical issues that suddenly and not so suddenly came on. And the emotions were big. They were big. The emotions, the frustration, the arguments, the cost, the uncertainty. It was 4 months of complete overwhelm because we hadn't done anything to plan for this. But once we had her settled and we knew where she was going to be, all the stress eased and it became easier. And that's what mindset does. It shifts you from panic to purpose, from panic to purpose. And that's really important because as we age, we want to have the purpose. We want to have the intention. We want to be able to make the decisions. So mindset is step one, but then we have to actually look where we're living, the home itself. Okay, one of the statistics that AARP and others have put out is that 90% of people want to age in place, meaning they want to stay in the home they're in. Unfortunately, less than 20% do, and more shockingly, less than 10% of the homes they want to live in are meet the minimum standards for living safely, right, in the home. Bedrooms are upstairs, showers are upstairs, narrow doorways, too much furniture, rugs to trip on, thresholds to trip on, steps to get in the house, steps to get out of the house, all those sorts of things. So you need to really look at your home and let's make sure it is safe and accessible. It's the practical part. And honestly, it's where small changes can then make a huge difference. I've walked homes where one throw rug. I've walked into homes where one throw rug could cause a fall, and that changes everything. Lighting, flooring, bathroom design, all of it matters. So we start with a checklist, just a real simple home checklist. Are the pathways clear? Are the pathways clear to get to the kitchen, to the bathroom, to the bedroom, to the front door, to the back door, to the patio door? Whatever those are they clear? And when I say clear, I mean of rugs, throw rugs, trip hazards like the thresholds from one room into the next. Things that in the future, if you need to walk with assistance, such as a walker or a cane, will it not trip over those thresholds or those throw rugs, etc.? Do you have grab bars where you need them? In the bathroom, by the shower, by the bathtub, by the toilet, grab bars in the kitchen, handlebars, not handlebars, but handrails on stairs that are going in the house or out of the house if you have one or two steps. Can you reach your everyday items without a step stool? We don't need to be climbing on step stools as we age. Our balance becomes impaired and it becomes dangerous. So all the things that you need, your daily dishes, your pots and pans, the clothes that you wear, all the things, maybe it's even craft supplies and hobbies and books and things like that that you use in your regular life. Bring those down to a more accessible level, right? So that you can get to those without needing to go find a step ladder or worse, a full 6-foot ladder, right? Is there enough lighting in the hallways and the entryways? We all know the older we get, the more we get up in the middle of the night. And so you want to make sure, even if it's motion censored lights going down the hallways, so that you don't trip on a threshold, or if we haven't picked up those rugs, or the dog or the cat. I was at a conference where a woman was supposed to be there, but she tripped over her cat in the dark and broke her kneecap. Okay, so the animals, as much as we love them, can get intertwined in our feet. So let's make sure the pathways are clear. Now, technology can help. Like I said, motion sensor lights, smart doorbells so you can see who's at the front door, or even voice activated systems that you can say, who is it? Or can I help you? Or not say anything at all, because if you don't know them, they don't need to know your home. I've worked with families who thought these things would be expensive. It's often sometimes just $100 and $100, $200 fix-its. A handyman can come help, and that sure beats, $10,000, $100,000 hospital stays and life-changing and life-altering results. So remember, it's not about making your house look clinical. That's not what we're doing. It's about making it work for you. And so even the safest home doesn't work if you don't have people in your corner. So next we're going to talk about your support network. So aging in place is not an individual sport. Aging in place is a team sport. One of the most, they call it aging in place is in fact and totally a team sport. Aging in place does not mean isolation. It actually depends upon connection. It depends on who's in your circle, who checks in with you, who can you call in an emergency, who can you visit with and have lunch with and get out and play cards with. These things are important. Isolation is one of the biggest aging aspects that is happening to seniors in our communities. So whether it's you, your parents, or another loved one, make sure people aren't in total isolation. Do not isolate yourself and be alone. This is one of the things that can cause you to age more quickly. It brings on symptoms of things like dementia and other diseases. So let's get away from that. I like to use the circle of support. Who is in your circle? It's not always just family. It's your friends. It's your neighbors. If you are still living in a single family home, who are the neighbors that live close by? Do you know them? Do they know your name? If they don't see you out getting the mail once in a while, will they be concerned? I have a very good friend whose neighbor was an elderly woman, lived alone, very independently. And my friend would go and check on her periodically, making sure she was fine and those sorts of things. Unfortunately, she did have a fall and she hasn't lived in her home for quite some time. And my friend actually went over and cleaned out her refrigerator for her and took care of some of those things as well. So it is also your neighbors are part of your circle of support. Maybe a hairstylist, somebody that you see every 4 to 6 weeks that would know if suddenly you were not showing up, if you've missed an appointment. Maybe it's your handyman, a real estate advisor. Maybe it's your lawn person or anybody that would notice if you aren't showing up as often or you're not answering the phone. These are all very important things. Community programs. There's a program in many communities called The Village. Where I live in Coppell, Texas, it is the Village Collective, I think is the name of it. And they're popping up all over the country, and they are volunteers who help seniors age in place. They can run errands for you. They can help clean for you. They can do your lawn for you. They can come and sit with you and have coffee or tea. That associating yourself with organizations like that is extremely important because, again, you are getting that community and you are getting that interaction. Technology can help fill some gaps as well. Medical alert systems. I met a woman who has, and it's not the ones you wear, right? It's medical alert, but it's really to make sure your habits are the same. So maybe it's a mat in the bathroom that you have, and it alerts your daughter or your son or a family member when you step on it in your bathroom. Because if you don't go to the on a regular basis, somebody will notice and they can come and check on you. It's just simple things. Telehealth with your doctor. Apps let families monitor you safely because nobody wants to throw you into a skilled nursing because you're old. That is not the intent. The intent is to keep you in your home as long as possible, but while remaining safe. And that's what's important. So we've got mindset, we've got the house, you've got people. Next, let's talk about money because I think that's the primary reason people say, I'm just going to stay right here. My house is paid for. Everything I have is right here. I don't have the money to move and I don't have the money that covers the expense of some senior living, right? That is the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. So let's talk about financial and legal hold on, we're going to pause. Okay, here we go. So let's talk about 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's talk about financial and legal readiness. Money and legal prep are the backbone of aging in place. And the earlier you can plan, the better off you are. So whether you are 60 or 80, as soon as you can start planning, the sooner the better. Think about all the costs that are going to sneaking up. Maintenance on a home. If you've still got a very large home with a very large lot, let's think about the maintenance of that home, which also means it's probably older, so there's more maintenance involved. Medical care. What kind of medical care are you going to require? Remember, Medicare doesn't cover everything. There are still copays. There are still things it doesn't cover. So make sure you understand your Medicare program and you maximize it to its greatest benefit, and you monitor that as well and change programs or plans periodically if necessary. Transportation. I know we all still want to keep our keys, but is it always safe? Should we be driving? Do we want to be driving? Sometimes traffic starts to get a little crazy, especially in a city like Dallas. Even though you may stay in your hub, maybe you need to go further. How are you going to handle transportation? Will a family member be able to take you to doctor's appointments? Do you need services like Go Granny and some other options? Think about what sort of transportation options you're going to need and will be available to you. Maybe you just need some part-time help. Maybe you need somebody to come in once a couple of times a month and clean your house for you, or take you on errands, or maybe start using grocery delivery or something like that. So I always encourage people to sit down with their trusted financial advisor, an elder law attorney, understand your options. Um, Understand the options of things like reverse mortgages, right? Those are a very viable option for people who have all the equity in their home. Did you know you can use a reverse mortgage to purchase another home? And we can go in, I can certainly answer any questions about that for you. Long-term care insurance. Get that as soon as you can or while you can. It gets very expensive the older you get. Medical directives. I will get on this soapbox forever and ever. We've had estate attorneys on the show to talk about wills and trusts and medical directives. Make sure those are in place so that your wishes are taken care of and followed if you're unable to communicate that information. Your will, like I said, tapping into the home equity. They're not all one size fits all things, and they can be tools in the toolbox that you can go to, that you can draw upon as you age. Please, 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 if you take nothing else away, get your paperwork in order. Get a knockbox next of kin. Get a knockbox where everything resides: your wills, your powers of attorney, your medical directives, titles to cars, medical insurance policies, auto policies, where to find the keys to the safe deposit box, all the things in one place. They're not fun conversations, but somebody needs to know where these things are, because in urgency and in medical emergencies, these things become vital and they can save your life. I like to say, make decisions now while you can, so no one has to make them for you later. So very important. So very important. And that's going to lead us up to our last piece, because sometimes aging in place, unfortunately, is not forever. So let's talk about what comes next. Okay, hold, hold, hold. So the best aging in place plan is a plan B. So what comes next? Maybe the house is perfect for now, but may become too big or too far away from what you need later. So let's have that plan, because that's okay. It's okay. Sometimes the goal really is just to stay in control. It's really to stay in control so that you make the next decisions on your terms, whether that's downsizing, moving closer to family, choosing a senior living community, whatever that looks like. My bonus mom, she and my dad set things up very well for their aging in place. She currently lives in a smaller one-story home, very few steps, just some going down to the garage. They put a handrail in, no thresholds, no rugs, minimal furniture, all those things. And she is out currently making a plan to when she no longer wants to live in that home. She has already said, I don't want to live with any of you kids. I'm not doing that. And she's starting to make a plan on where she wants to go. And I've advised her to pick 3 or 4. Visit them periodically so that when it's time, she can choose. And should tragically something happen and we have to make some decisions for her, then we already know where she wants to go. So I always tell my clients, it's not giving up independence, it's preserving it in a different form. And just because it may be a senior living community doesn't mean you lose your independence. It just means that your circle of support may change just a little bit. So start early, visit different places, understand what you want, what you are looking for in that next step. So if you're in your 60s now and you want to downsize to a smaller home or a condo, awesome. Let's do that. Then have that second plan B or plan C where it says, okay, when I get done here, I'm going to want to live closer to you kids with my grandkids. I'm going to want to live in an active adult community. I'm going to want to live X, but make it where it's your plan and not somebody else's. So people can help you make those decisions when the time comes based on the plan that you've already set in place. Okay, so that's it. The real ingredients for aging in place, they're going to be the right mindset. It's not about the house. It's all up here in the head. Making sure wherever that aging in place home is, that it's safe and accessible for those years that you intend to be there, that you have solid social support, family, friends, community, neighbors, and a supportive environment so that you have people to call upon you and check on you as you age. Financial and legal prep. This is probably one of the most important. Make sure all of your directives, your wills, trusts, and all your important documents, medications, all those things are where somebody can find them in emergency should that be necessary. And finally, a plan is just a plan. We make it and we put it here and make sure other people are aware of what our plan is. But plans are meant to be changed as our changes change, our lives change, right? Maybe our opinions change. Maybe what we decide changes. We thought we were going to stay here in Dallas, but all the kids moved to North Carolina. Why am I going to stay in Dallas? I'm moving to North Carolina, right? So understand that plans change, but have a plan B and a plan C. It is absolutely possible to age in place. It is absolutely possible, but it doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't just happen. It takes planning. So my challenge to you this week is to take one step. Walk through your house and look at it with fresh eyes. Call your adult kids or your advisor. Talk about it. Start the conversation. It's so very important. Because remember, you're not alone in this. You're not alone. Relax. I got this. We're embracing life after 60, and we are going to help you every step of the way. So thank you once again for tuning in to this episode of Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. If you need more information on maybe an assessment, check the comments below. We're going to put some links to where you can find a home assessment, just a simple checklist. We've also got our ducks in a row checklist that you can get our ducks in a row place. Again, tune in next time for Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. I'm your host, Robin McCoy, and we'll see you next time.